Good morning. So how are we doing? If you're coming in, hope you had a good weekend. Monday the 6th of June, I think it is today. So just after Jubilee weekend, so I've had a few conversations yesterday with some of the check-ins that we had regarding weekends and leftovers and kickstarts, and some people starting our kickstart this week coming, and just kind of raring to go and asking, do I give up sugar? Do I? All these questions, which is good to ask questions. And the key thing to remember with this is that we're going to tackle these one by one, by the way. And if you want more information about our kickstart, just comment below and I'll get you the details with that. So if we start off with leftovers, like I had a conversation with someone yesterday and they were like, yeah, there's going to be a lot of leftovers and a lot of like crap, through their words, just around the house this week. And I'm already thinking, can I do this? Can I actually stick to this? Will I have the willpower and all these things? And number one, I want to consider that if you're doing it now, if you have the willpower right now, then that's all you have to actually worry about. All you have to do is just make the decision that you want to make right now in this moment, as that's all that exists. Like, we can stress about the future, worry about the future, worry about, will I be able to stick to it? What will happen a week from now? No one actually knows. So just focus on the now. That's number one. Number two is why do you need to give up sugar? Why do you need to not have any of the crap in the house or any of the leftovers? How has that worked before? And I want you to be honest with this and just answer the question, because it might be that, not that, because I know some people will say, if I have a little bit of something, it just doesn't work, I want it all, and that's fine. Is it still worth structuring in some for some point in time that you want it, that if you want it, you can have it? I'm not saying you have to have it. I'm saying if you want it, give yourself permission to have it. Dry under the trees, but getting wetter here. And I say this from point of I say this from a point of view of sugar. Is when we say things like I want to give up sugar, we've got to define what sugar actually means, what it actually is, because sugar, is it processed sugar we're talking about? Is it whatever that is? What is processed sugar? All sugar is processed, right? Sugar is sugar, and it's going to have the same impact on our blood sugar levels, give or take. So sometimes we have these beliefs, like honey is better than sugar and stuff like that, and there might be some truth in that in terms of gut health on a minutiae basis with that, but given the amounts that we're having, it's not going to count for much at all, if anything. And actually the more damaging is the psychosocial benefits it can have about our relationship with food. So if you think about sugar, firstly, if we want to say something like I need to reduce my sugar intake, then great. How are you going to do that? What do you define as sugar? Is that fruit? Is that processed foods? Hey Joss, is that carbohydrates in general? And then we want to consider why we want to do that. Is it with the aim of lowering calories? Is it that we believe that carbs will make us gain weight, which is true if we overeat on calories? And I had a conversation with someone the other day, and they said about having rice and it makes them a bit hungrier, and that's fine. Maybe when they have rice, they have less vegetables or less protein, so the meal might look the same, but their macronutrient ratio of protein, carbs and fats is a bit different. So maybe here we can look at increasing the protein intake, but still having the rice, not that you're not going to have rice, or adding some fibre into the meal as well to see if that helps with hunger. And it's about sometimes looking at those small little tweaks that we can make on there. So, like, the thing is, you can give up sugar and you can go, right, I'm going to have no sugar, and that's fine. The issue comes when perhaps we've done that and not lost weight. And sometimes we might lose some weight. It might be a lot of water weight as well. But sometimes we haven't defined what sugar actually is. So we've said, I haven't eaten any sugar. But actually, then we've eaten fruit. Then we've eaten stuff like that. Not that fruit's bad, but is that we're going down a rabbit hole where we don't really know what's working and what's not. And that's the danger of just reading something that you think should work on paper and then trying it, and actually it's really loose and actually not well defined. So let's look at this sugar example. Let's say you don't lose weight and you've cut out sugar. We can conclude that people would say that, you know, I've cut out sugar, still not losing weight. And actually there's an element to this that maybe we're eating more fat than we think. Fat has 9 calories per gram, carbs have 4 calories per gram. If you're not eating a third of the macronutrients now, it's likely you're eating more protein and fat. Are we eating too many nuts now? Like, there's always, you've got to put something in the tank, right? And for some people I speak to, they're like, you know, yeah, if I have a jacket potato, tuna mayo, like some light mayo, sweet corn, or baked beans, cheese, I'm actually full up for the whole afternoon. And given that the potato is like, you know, 200 calories in the filling, you know, 400 or 500 calories altogether, and they don't even really think about food, maybe that's actually a good thing. But some people, they're not. They're like, oh, it just makes me feel like I could go to sleep. And my point here is that this sugar thing can extrapolate to everything, and we go from all or nothing. And this can work for a period of time. Like, you know, when I do go periods of lower carb for sure, and actually I concentrate better, I have better digestion. So that actually helps me personally, but it doesn't mean I give it up forever, and it doesn't mean that when I have it that I failed. And that's a really key thing. Hey Jessica. So that it doesn't matter, it doesn't mean when I have it I failed, because actually I can just lower my fat intake a little bit and make way for it, if you like. So if I know that, you know, I just generally work better on a lower, not zero, lower carbohydrate diet, I know that generally for me, breakfast, morning, lunchtime, I'm busy, concentrate better on more protein-based foods, more fat-based foods, and then in the evening, when it's more of a family meal, I'll just have whatever. Like last night, one tray bake, sausage, casserole with potatoes, sweet corn, real simple meal, literally like bug it in, done. It's like a good winter warmer for this weather. But really simple, really easy, very filling, vegetables in there, potato in there, but it's a one-pot meal, it's done, and that gives me room to do that. Now, in the past, when I've gone really, and this, I'm not saying this doesn't work for some people, but this is about finding what works for you. When I've gone really strict, I enjoyed it for a bit, like having a bit more fat, protein at every meal, but then it got to the stage where I was a bit like feeling like I was missing out a little bit, not enjoying it as much. And then I've struck that balance, because if you are adding in exercise, like the exercise we do at Fruci Fit, like the resistance style work as well, where you actually want to get stronger, you want to get fitter, you want to see what your body's capable of doing, you want to see where you can go with this. If you're doing exercise like that as well, you want to get the recovery in from that. So maybe actually some carbohydrates are good, because we know that they do increase performance. They can also be important in terms of their role in around hormone regulation as well, in terms of thyroid as well. So it's not that they're just there to gain body fat, as they are often seen, but at the same time they are literally everywhere, and it's important that we do strike that balance. But then it's a case of individualizing it. So I'll give you an example of someone I spoke with yesterday. They do similar to what I do, but more so their lunch is their main meal of the day, because they eat at work and it's like kind of just given to them, so it saves them time. So if you think about their day, if you're given lunch and it's a decent meal but it's just balanced, you know, so they're like, you know, if I eat there, it saves me having to make lunch, and then I know in the evening that I'll have a lighter meal later in the evening, and that saved them time, rather than going, I can't ever eat carbs, so I've got to make lunch, then I can't do this, and I struggle to get this done, then they want me, then I've got to take them for a lift. And actually she's just more in control, more at ease now, and actually the stress that's come off is probably having more of a benefit than the diet itself. So, and now actually she's potentially got more time to get the exercise in as well. So I could go on scenarios all day on this. The key thing is that, do you need to give it all up, or do you need to plan it in better? Do you need to have diet breaks? Do you need to define what you mean when you say, I want to give up sugar? Do you need to plan the leftovers or the crap in, if you like? So, you know, I give myself permission to have one chocolate bar a day, like just whatever I want. Some people, maybe this works. Other people, not so much. But again, it's about knowing knowing you. And when that chocolate bar does happen, if it does happen, so it's okay to go the other way, by the way, and go, no, I'll never have chocolate. Aim for perfection, but give yourself permission to have it when you have it, and don't think that you failed because you've had it, because at the end of the day, it's like 200 to 300 calories, which is like 2 to 3 pieces of fruit. How would you feel? What would you think if you had 2 to 3 pieces of fruit? And again, this comes down to your goals, how fast you want to get results, where you want to go, obviously dictates, and when the deadline is, if there is a deadline, dictates what you do here. I could go in all day on this, mainly because I'm walking. It's taking my mind off of it as well. So, any questions on that ramble in 2 ways? This is also a ramble. Let me know, and I will see you soon.